Erev Tov Rabotai, we are continuing with our Mishna Yomi, Masechet Kiddushin. We're up to Perek Gimel, Mishnah Yud Bet. Today's Mishnayot should be Le'elu Nishmat, Neria ben Svetlana, Ranbai, Eliyahu ben Burcha, Israel, Ovchana ben Miriam, Sason ben Raya, and Yoshua ben Shifra, Menuchatam ben Gan Eden, Amen, and Avdi ben Chaim Lechaim, with the Refuah Shelemav, Daniel Shalom ben Rosa, Betoch Shah Cholei Israel. The following Mishnayot, from this Mishnah through chapter 4, Mishnah 8, discuss laws that relate to a person's family lineage. Different people belong to different categories of lineage, with people of some categories being forbidden to marry people of certain other categories. This will be discussed more fully in the next chapter. This Mishnah presents rules for determining the category to which one belongs. Kol makom shesh kiddushin, wherever a couple can have kiddushin, meaning kiddushin between them, will take effect. Ven averan, there is no transgression, no sin if they marry. Havlad ulech achar zachar, the status of the child follows the male, meaning the father. Ve'ezeh, to whom does this apply? Zo chohenet levia ve'Israelit shenisu lechohen ulevi u'Yisrael. It applies to a daughter of a Kohen Levi or Israel who marries a Kohen Levi or Israel. Such a couple is permitted to marry, and the Kiddushin takes effect. Therefore, a child born from them has the same status as his father. For example, if the father is a Kohen, the child is a Kohen, and this is derived from a verse in the Torah. The Mishnah deals with cases where a man and woman are forbidden to marry each other, but if they did, the Kiddushin would take effect. V'chol makom shesh kiddushin, wherever a couple can have kiddushin, meaning kiddushin between them would take effect. V'yesh avera, but there is a transgression if they marry. Now this refers to marriages that the Torah forbids under the penalty of lashes. Such marriages do take effect according to the Tana of our Mishnah. Havlad ulech achar pagum, the status of the child follows the parent of flawed lineage. Ve'ezo, to whom does this apply? Zo almana lechohen gadol, it applies to a widow who gets married to a kohen gadol. Girusha v'chalutza lechohen idiot, and a divorcer chalutza who gets married to ordinary kohen. The Torah forbids a kohen gadol to marry a widow and a kohen to marry a divorcee, as it says in Vayikra, chapter 21, verse 7 and verse 14. Rabbinic law forbids a kohen to marry a chalutza, a woman who performs chalitza. If any of these forbidden unions take place, the woman becomes a chalala, who is prohibited to marry a kohen. Any girl born from the union would also be a chalala, and any boy would be a halal who is disqualified from being a kohen, even though his father is a kohen. And the laws of a halal and halala will be discussed in chapter 4, Mishnah 6. But in any event, in these cases, the woman becomes a halala, and the child also acquires that flaw and is a halal. Mamzeret unitina Israel. This rule also applies to a mamzeret or nitina who gets married to an ordinary Jew. A mamzer or feminine mamzeret is a child born from a forbidden union that is punishable by karet, or from a parent who is a mamzer or a mamzeret. The Torah forbids marriage or cohabitation between a mamzer or mamzeret and a regular Jew, as the Torah describes in the book of Dorim, chapter 23, verse 3. A natin or netina is a descendant of the Gibeonites, a group of Canaanites who tricked Yoshua into making a peace treaty with them, as described in the book of Yoshua, chapter 9. They are forbidden to marry ordinary Jews. Bat Yisrael, a mamzer or natin, or a daughter of an ordinary Jew gets married to a mamzer or to a natin. In these cases, too, the child acquires the flaw and becomes a mamzer or natin. In fact, even if a mamzer or natin marries someone who is permitted to him, such as a mamzeret or natina, the child is a mamzer or a natin. The Mishnah discusses couples who are not only forbidden to marry, but the kiddushin will not even take effect. First, it deals with a woman whose kiddushin with this particular man will not take effect, but her kiddushin with another man would take effect. The kol mish en la alav kiddushin, and any woman who cohabits with a man with whom she cannot have kiddushin, aval yesh la lachem kiddushin, but she can have kiddushin with other men. Havlad mamzer, the child she has with this man as a mamzer. Ve'ezeh, to whom does this apply? Za bal achad mikol ha'arayot shebatorah. It applies to one who cohabits with any of the ervas in the Torah. An erva is a woman with whom one may not cohabit under penalty of karet. This includes one's close relatives and a woman who is betrothed or married to another man. Kiddushin with such a woman does not take effect. A close relative is included in this rule because if a man were to betroth one of his close relatives, the kiddushin would not take effect, but she can be betrothed to other men who are not her close relatives. According to this rule, therefore, if a man cohabits with a close relative and they have a child, the child is a mamzer. The Mishnah now states the law regarding a woman whose kiddushin with any Jew would not take effect. Any woman who cohabits with the man with whom she cannot have kiddushin, and she cannot have kiddushin with anyone else either, meaning if she is betrothed by any Jew, the kiddushin will not take effect. Havlad kimota, the child she has from this man has the same status as she does. Ve'ezeh, to whom does this rule apply? Zev vlad shivcha v'nochrit, It applies to the child of a Canaanite slave woman and the child of a non-Jewish lady. These women cannot be betrothed by any Jew. Therefore, if a Jew cohabits with one of them, she passes her status as a Canaanite slave or a non-Jew to their child. Therefore, a child born from a Jewish man and a non-Jewish woman is not a Jew. On the other hand, the child of a Jewish woman is a Jew, even if the father is not Jewish. These laws are derived from the verses in the Torah. In summary, the Mishnah is given 4 rules to determine a child's status. Number 1, in an ordinary relationship where the man and women are permitted to each other and their Kiddushin will take effect, their child has the same status as the father, Kohen, Levi, or Israel. Number 2, if one of them has flawed lineage that forbids marriage to an ordinary Jew, for example, he or she has a mamzer, that flaw in lineage is passed to their child. Number 3, if the couple is forbidden to marry under penalty of karet and their Kiddushin will not take effect, their child is a mamzer. And number 4, if the mother is a non-Jew or Canaanite slave who cannot have Kiddushin with anyone, the child has her status and is therefore not Jewish. And that is it of Mishnah Yud Bet. Now, again, Mishnah Yud Bet taught that a mamzer passes his status to his children. Mishnah Yud Gimel discusses a way to avoid this. Rabbi Tarfon says, Yichulin mamzerim litaer, mamzerim can be purified, meaning their children can become ordinary Jews. Ketzad, how? Mamzer shenasha shivcha, if a mamzer marries a female Canaanite slave, havlad eved, the child is a slave and not a mamzer. The child of a female slave has the same status as its mother, as taught in the previous Mishnah, which means that the child does not receive its father's status in any way. Therefore, if a mamzer marries a female slave, the child will not have the status of a mamzer, but only that of a slave. This marriage is permitted. Although an ordinary Jew is forbidden to marry a Canaanite slave, a mamzer may do so. Similarly, if a mamzer were to marry a non-Jewish woman, their child would not be a mamzer, but simply a non-Jew. However, Rabbi Tarfon did not give this example because such a marriage is forbidden. Even a mamzer may not marry a non-Jew. And Rabbi Tarfon wanted to give a permitted way for a mamzer to avoid passing his status to his children. Shichiro, in Rabbi Tarfon's case, again, if a mamzer marries a female Canaanite slave, the child is a slave, not a mamzer. Shichiro, then if the master frees the child, Nimtza ben chorin, the child is a free man, meaning an ordinary Jew. When a Canaanite slave is freed, he becomes a full Jew and has all the laws of a convert to Judaism. Another Tana disagrees. Rabbi Eliezer says, if a mamzer marries a Canaanite slave, the child is both a slave and a mamzer, and he remains a mamzer even if he is freed. Rabbi Eliezer learns from a verse in the Torah that a mamzer passes his status to his children, regardless of whom he marries, as the Gemara relates in page 69a, Masechet Kiddushin. The dispute applies only to a male mamzer. Both Tanaim agree that it is impossible for a female mamzeret to avoid passing her status to her children. Even if she marries a Canaanite slave, her child will have the same status as its mother, meaning it will be a mamzer, and it will not have its father's status of a slave. The Rav Dastas, the Halacha follows the opinion of Rabbi Tarfon, and that is in Abotai today's Mishna Yomi. Baruch Adonai Leolam, Amen v'Amen.